If I get too loud, tell me to quiet it down a little bit. Roll call.
Mr. Foreman?
Right.
Mr. John?
Present.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw? Present. Ms. Woods? Here.
We have 5 board members establishing quorum in compliance with the Open Meeting Act. Number 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Davis.
Please stand. Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, administration of oath of office to Mr. Jimmy John, newly elected board member, seat 1. Jimmy has already taken the oath of office. We do have a certificate for Jimmy. Please welcome to the board. Number, going to do a picture now? Number 4, annual reorganization of the Board of Education. Consider and take action to appoint the board position of president. Do we have a motion?
I move that we nominate Steve Oliver as president.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Consider and take action to appoint the board position of vice president.
I make a motion to appoint or elect myself in the nominations.
Is there a second? Do is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's roll call that. We need a roll call on that election?
Mr. Foreman? Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver?
No.
Ms. Capshaw? No. Ms. Woods? No.
The noes have it. Do we have another motion to appoint the board position of vice president?
Jacqueline Wood.
Is there a second? I'll second that motion. All in favor, we need a roll call?
Mr. Foreman?
No.
Mr. John?
No.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes?
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
The yeses have it. Ms. Woods is vice president. Consider and take action to appoint the board position of clerk. Is there a motion for clerk?
I'll make a motion to appoint Lori Capshaw.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Roll call?
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
The yeses have it. Ms. Capshaw is clerk. Item number 5, reports.
I'd like to make a point of order.
The board recognizes Mr. John.
As is in Ardmore City Schools Board Policy BB-B, which was adopted in 2006, revised in 2007. The agenda and supporting materials will be distributed to members of the board as far as advance as possible of the meeting date, but not less than 2 calendar days, as I, as a new city board member sworn in by oath on the 15th of this month, did not receive those information nor supporting documents, and I have a copy of the policy right here for the board and the public. I motion that we adjourn and have a special meeting later until I have all supporting documents.
Your point of order is noted. Item number 5, reports.
Okay, right now we have board quarterly credits. All board members in compliance with the required board training credits. Lori Capshaw has completed a total of 19 board training credits. 2 board training credits needed before December 27th. James Coleman has completed a total of 24 board training credits. Steve Oliver has completed a total of 24 board training credits. Jacqueline Woods has completed a total of 26 board training credits. 1 board training credit needed before December of 2028. Jimmy John has completed required 15-month 12 credits, 15 board training credits needed before December of 2029. Board members have been registered to attend the 2026 OSSBA Education Leadership Conference, August 13th through the 15th at Oklahoma City Convention Center. More information on that will be coming soon. Yesterday was truly a special day for Ardmore City Schools. I'm so grateful for everyone who helped make our staff appreciation celebration a meaningful and joyful event. It is one of my favorite opportunities to pause and recognize the incredible people who make our district what it is. We had the honor of celebrating our Shift Award recipients who are quietly but powerfully changing the culture of ACS, and are no questions asked award winners who consistently step up without hesitation to support others. We also recognize our support staff members of the year: Jennifer Roller, Dolores Jesse, Pam Robert Cox, Wayne Rogers, Lisa Wells, Ruth Manuel, Becky Jones, and Chanel Maytub, and celebrating Lisa Wells as our district support staff of the year. It was equally special to honor the Teachers of the Year: Larry Coley, Charlie Jones, Bob Richmond, Amanda Maxson, Beth Pierce, Starla Newton, and Debbie Wakeman. Congratulations to our finalists, Beth Pierce, Charlie Jones, and Larry Coley. And finally, to our District Teacher of the Year, Larry Coley, a big congratulations to him. We also took time to recognize our Years of Service recipients for their dedication to ACS. Your commitment over the years truly shaped who we are. And to our retirees, thank you for the lasting impact you've made on generations of students. We wish you all the very best in the next chapter of your life. Days like this remind us of how fortunate we are to be a part of something so special. Thank you all for what you do for our students, our school, and each other. It is truly a fantastic day, and always it's a great day to be a Tiger. Thank you. That's all I have.
So, Ardmore High School inspection presentations, Mr. Davis.
Okay, so first we've got Trent Reed and his team from Comfort Works Incorporated. They're geothermal specialists. You guys will come over here to this table, please. And they can kind of go through their findings. They were sent to us through OC, an insurance company, to do an inspection upon our geothermal system. And I'll let them tell you their findings.
Okay, so what was it, 2 weeks ago I came out to inspect the piping system in the building. And from what I was told, a leak occurred on a Friday when no kids were in school. That's correct?
I think it was Wednesday.
Okay, so several days, the water level and pressure in the system was drained down, and we had pumps that continued to run and caused damage to the pipe. Also saw that, there was a lot of support bracket missing on the piping system itself. That's not what caused this issue, but it was something that I noted that we should probably look at taking care of, as well as adding some type of overload protection for the pumps or an interlock with the unit's fault code system.
So, Mr. Reed, before there are board questions, in really simple terms, can you explain the geothermal system to us?
Sure. So what's different from geothermal from your normal air conditioner is, your normal air conditioner is going to extract heat from the air or absorb heat from the air. Our system circulates water through piping in the ground that has a stable temperature of around 55 degrees year-round, and that's going to provide a more efficient cooling for your building. That water will then circulate across a water to refrigerant heat exchanger, and it works just like an air source heat pump from there. Except for it's extracting it from that water that's being circulated throughout the ground.
Okay.
Questions from the board?
I know it's two vaults out there, the vaults there longer than 6, or the two vaults.
Yes, I have not seen the vaults, but, as far as I've heard, there may be a well-filled leak in the system. That would be very valuable for us to determine which circuit is leaking, if the school were to pursue a repair on the bore field.
What about, I know city water's tied in, would that be separated or would that definitely be separated from the water tying straight in?
So typically when we install a building, you know, we're gonna pressure test every length of pipe, make sure none of it's leaking. And we will have city water tied into our system, but it'll be turned off. So we'll pressurize the system, allow it to circulate for about a month with that city water feeding it as it's burping air out through air vents that are installed in the piping system. And then after about 30 days, that city water supply is then shut off. And that way, if you do have a leak, for one, you're gonna know because it's gonna get hot in your building, but it's not gonna just continue to spill out into the premises. This system was installed 20 years ago. Not a lot of contractors knew what they didn't know back then. They were hooking a lot, that was putting city water supply tied right in, maybe with a pressure regulator with no backstop. If a pipe busts, it's just gonna go until somebody turns the water off.
Water don't have a regulator system, right?
It does have a regulator system, but it doesn't have an auto shutdown system, which that's not very typical in general, to have an auto shutdown system.
Where are we in the life expectancy of the system?
For your piping, I mean, the piping it can last forever. I mean, we don't have, you know, any type of guarantee on poly pipe, but I've been told it could be installed right on a fault line and it's not gonna snap the pipe in two. It's very flexible, it's pliable, it stands up good to heat and cold. Now, as far as the units themselves, they're just like a regular air conditioner, and they last, you know, 15 to 25 years. I think consumer reports on geothermal are around 20 to 25 years on life expectancy, so you guys are getting towards the end on those heat pumps, for sure.
Any more questions?
Yeah, let me go over this real quick, but just, once the repairs are performed, what's kind of, your guess for how long that system, since it is in your end of life, like what timeline do you have? I know that's hard to.
Yeah, and I don't really have much service background in your building, so I don't know what you guys have faced day in and day out throughout the last few years. As these systems age, you're gonna run into, you know, parts being obsolete, you know, drain pans possibly rusting out, like that plastic or rubber drain pans. That's typically when you get to this age. There are ways, I mean, we have found to save customers money. When a part is obsolete, a lot of times another manufacturer makes something similar, and there can be a way to rewire or rework a system to make it work with different components, but that also is pretty expensive. So, yeah, I can't put a guess on that.
Are we at a point where an institution would typically replace the entire system?
I mean, I guess it would depend on how much money you could acquire to do that. You know, we can do them one at a time, or big projects like this, but yes, 20 to 25 years I've seen schools start at least doing quadrants of their building.
Is there a way to anticipate like critical failure points that preemptively we could make some changes to avoid, like the 5-week shutdown we just had is something clearly we all want to avoid. But if we have an event like we've had, then this is where we are. Is there a way to anticipate these are spots that you need to look at to repair ahead of time?
Yes, on the piping system, we could go out and visually inspect pretty much all the fittings above ground, short of anything that's inside the wall. But most of your piping is flexible. You know, I would say for sure, long term, you're going to support those pipes better, get them nice and strapped up so there's no stress on any fittings or anything like that. But one thing I mentioned to Scott earlier is that's kind of a testament to how durable this piping is, because it wasn't strapped up originally, and it had stress on all these fittings for 20 plus years. None of them blew until we had a pump overheat, to my knowledge. You know. Yeah, so the reason that did occur, you know, we talked about the pressure and water level dropping and having air in the system. That pump is water cooled. The pump was not interlocked to the unit. The units were faulting out because they had no water coming to them, but the pump was not interlocked. It was being told to run by the thermostat itself. So if it were interlocked into the system's own circuitry, it would have shut down. It would have shut down when the unit shut down. So, and once those units fault out, you know, I think it's 3 faults, it will lock the system out and won't retry the pump. That's something that probably, well, definitely needs to be done with your new pumps. Needs to be interlocked to the new heat pumps to prevent this from occurring again.
What kind of other issues are we gonna be facing with the way that the roof is laid out with a flat roof and then an angled roof?
I've seen tons of schools done this way. Chandler Elementary, Western Heights High School. Structurally, that's not really my cup of tea. I mean, I haven't seen anything that would make me think that that's a bad plan to have it done that way. It was pointed out to me that there was, you know, some insulation falling off on the roof. I would say the biggest concern is the temperatures, the temperature extremes you'll get to in that attic space in the wintertime. Is it gonna be below freezing in the attic for several hours? Because that will cause future failures if we don't address it with antifreeze or insulating the pipe.
So is the main fault the water pressure system, or, I mean, is it why it's failing because of the pressure from the water?
No, this failed from heat generated by the geothermal pumps at each unit. Each unit has its own set of pumps, and these pumps were not interlocked into the unit's safety mechanisms to shut the pumps down, and being that they were water cooled and there's no water in the pipe, they got really hot, and you had metal surfaces going to plastic pipe, and it melted the plastic.
How many pumps are in the system?
There's roughly 2 per heat pump, and then you have some larger pumps. I think there's 4 large pumps per, I think you have 2 well fields serving the high school. Roughly 65, 66 units, I think. So a lot of pumps, over 100 pumps, well over 100.
And on average, the age of these pumps?
Well, with the exception of what you guys are replacing right now, you'll have 33 that were
20 years old?
roughly, you know, short of what's been replaced already.
So it's 33 out of over 100 pumps? Or-
No, it'd be like 66. It's roughly half.
That's what we're repairing currently?
Yes.
What's the water or flow capacity for the pipes as well as the pumps?
That I don't know. I need a piping schematic and everything like that. I mean, we could make a guess at it, but
It's gonna be in the 2 to 4 feet per second range for your pipes. That's pretty normal. The capacity is all just a factor of how much power you wanna apply to the pump to push the water through it.
The pumps that you have are capable of, depending on the pressure drop of the well field, but your units, typically a geothermal heat pump is 3 GPM per ton. So if you have a 3-ton unit, you're gonna be about 9 GPM. A 5-ton unit, 15 GPM. So that gives you kind of an idea of what kind of flow rate you've got going through the unit.
We're making repairs to these units and we're tracking business, but what's the next straw, like with an aging unit? What should we, like you asked earlier, kind of like what should we turn our attention to try to keep this unit going along until we decide to replace or?
My advice would be, I'm not familiar with the school, I work with the majority of your pipes in the 4-ton units. I would invest into maybe a handful of 4-ton units. And say, catastrophically, we have a unit goes down, we can't lose 1, 2, or 3 classrooms. Let's pull out of inventory, replace the unit, get it back in operation, probably within a couple of hours. You're back into business while someone else, a vendor or contractor, can come in, look at your unit and make a justification that, yes, this is salvageable. All we gotta do is replace the circuit, or maybe your compressor had a leak, we can fix that quickly. If it gets more complicated, then it becomes to how much money do you wanna spend trying to repair it versus just replacing it.
I'm very much an aviation person, and so I like redundancy. What systems can we put in as far as a redundant backup or safeguard?
What you have is probably as redundant as most schools are gonna get, because your central plant, which is the earth, is not gonna fail. And so the failure is in the terminal unit, and it's gonna be limited to just a classroom. Now, you can have catastrophic failures like you've witnessed, where you have a pipe that separates, water leaks out, that brings down everything associated with that piping system. That's a worst case catastrophic failure. There's not really a way that you can bootstrap that unless you wanna start creating multiple water circuits within a circuit. And that would be kind of, considered a Rube Goldberg design. That's kind of crazy, it'd be like saying, hey, if I get a flat tire, I better have 4 spares in my trunk, just in case I hit all 4 tires. No one really approaches that unless you're carrying nuclear fusion material in your car and you can't stop.
So we're fixing the 30, so it's got like 60 more that might go out.
Well, from my understanding, you didn't have any leaks occur on that. It's a separate system. So it's the same type of system, but you have 2 independent systems with 2 independent well fields, each unit having their own pumps. So there's a ton of redundancy there. I mean, to my understanding, half the school has remained operational with heating and cooling throughout this whole process. So that's more redundant than most commercial buildings have. They're all typically tied into one well field with a couple of central pumps and maybe pumps at the units or motorized valves of some sort. But your building having its own pump for each unit individually, that's as redundant as you can be.
If I can add, what Trent is saying is that under normal circumstances, you're most likely going to have a single unit go down, and that's going to be it. All the rest of your systems are going to run. You guys had probably the 1 in 1,000 chance thing happen to you, and it was basically because of what Trent pointed out earlier, that your pumps are wired in, they're being controlled by the thermostat. If your unit faults because you have no water in the system, which it will, that thermostat has no idea that that unit is faulted. It knows that I haven't reached set point, so I'm gonna tell that unit to keep running. Now, smarter thermostats today, they are connected to the unit, they talk to the unit, they know when it's faulted, and they can do a lot more sophisticated things, but your system's 20 years old, and because that pump continued to run and there was air in the system, as he said, it's cooled by the water, it got extremely hot. The way HDPE pipe, the plastic pipe in your system, the way it is connected together is not like PVC where you solve it and glue it together. It is heated up with a fusion iron to almost 500 degrees and it's melted together. Now, when that pump got extremely hot because it was no longer being cooled, it essentially reheated that pipe to the point that it softened it enough, and the next time the system got pressured off, it just pressured up, it just blew right off of the brass fitting it was on. And then you have a catastrophic failure. I mean, we have had, in all of the thousands of units we've installed, we were talking on the way up here, how many leaks can we think of that we've had? And we could think of a couple, and it's been just a minor, it's dripping a little bit, and the business owner finds it because maybe the carpet got wet or the ceiling tile gets wet. You come in, we've got tools where we can isolate it, we fix it in a few hours, and away we go. This was as bad as it can get. It just blew right off, and you had city water tied to it that is just a never-ending supply until you drain the lake, and that's not going to happen. And so I would recommend, we've talked about this, one is, we gotta get your make water turned off, so that in the event you do have another leak someday, you don't have a never-ending supply of water. It's gonna basically bleed down to zero pressure. Your units, let's say it happened up high, you're gonna lose, a couple of hundreds of gallons of water until there's no water left in that part of the system, and it stops, because you've turned off your makeup water. The second thing is Trent said that I guess you guys think you have a leak somewhere. That's why your makeup water's on, is because there's a leak, and without that, your pressure's gonna drop. So you find that, you get it repaired, there's ways to do that. And then you can turn off your makeup water to the system. The third thing to do is what Trent was saying. Every one of your units, even the ones that you've not had any issues with, they need to be rewired in the control box, so if that unit faults, that pump shuts off. So I will say this, it was pretty common practice a long time ago for people to wire pumps so that they ran the way yours do. The industry's evolved, we've learned from mistakes, and we've changed the way we do things. But under almost any fault that could occur, that pump continuing to run would be no problem. But the situation that happened to you is you have a leak and you lost water and the pump overheated and it went to dry.
Could a completely new system be a substantial improvement over a repair of the present system? And doing your recommendations?
I think, as Trent was saying earlier, your units are ASHRAE, it's the American Standard of Heating and Refrigeration Engineers. They basically say a geothermal heat pump's got about a 24-year life expectancy. A conventional system, like a rooftop, about 15 years is all you're going to get out of it. So you're getting to the end of the life. If we could come up and look at all your heat pumps and look inside of them, see what the condition is, like Trent was saying, the drain pan, the coils. There are components that can fail, and no problem, we can get those. But there are some components, like your air coil in your unit. It is designed by Trane. Trane makes it specifically for that unit. If Trane doesn't make that coil anymore, that unit's got to be replaced. The good news is there's still, right in Oklahoma City is the largest manufacturer of geothermal heat pumps in the United States. And they make heat pumps, I guarantee, that will fit right into that spot, and with not much, changes to ductwork, very little, could be hooked up and make it run.
Doing these repairs, what is our now extended life of the system? You said, typically there's like 24 years on an original one. Doing these repairs, how much more time are we looking at as far as an extension?
If you're talking about replacing the unit or
Just how much more time is this realistically buying us?
by replacing the unit?
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, you would start the clock over and you'd say, okay, I can expect to get another 20 plus years out of the system. So there's also, there's tax credits that are available right now that used to not be available for schools because you're not a taxable entity, but there's ways to get those now where you can get a 30% tax credit that could be applied to new units.
So is that replacing the unit or replacing the pumps? Like we're replacing the pumps currently?
You're replacing pumps.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are we not replacing the full unit?
No, you're not replacing them.
So with the pump, do you still get that?
No.
So what we're doing, our repairs that we've done, I guess is my point.
Your repairs that you've done have done nothing for the actual unit that is
Okay.
conditioning the space.
But if we,
I'm sorry. The other thing I was gonna say is your units are R22. R22 has been in 2010, it went away. Now, you can still get it, and of course, the price has gone very high on it. I mean, pretty much the compressors, you can still get them, but they've become very expensive. So, if you had a leak on a refrigerant containing, or a failure on a refrigerant containing, component in the system, it's getting close to the point where it's gonna be just as, no more expensive to replace the unit than to repair it. Just because R22 is like gold. I mean, it's just very, very expensive. Now, there are some substitutes for it that work very well, that are less expensive. it's just, you're getting an older and older system. Even the refrigerant replaced R22, 410A, got obsoleted last year, now it's being made, now there's a whole new refrigerant. So it's becoming, they're constantly chasing the whole refrigerant to less global warming. So, I don't know how long it'll be before the next one comes in.
Are people putting back in these large geothermal systems at the same rate they were when we did it, or is it effective long-term, or?
We're probably doing more now than we've ever done,
Okay.
especially in the commercial spaces like buildings like this. You're compounding savings with each geothermal unit.
You've made the investment of the loop. Now, like I said, I'm gonna repeat myself, I know you've got a leak somewhere, but you've got, I mean, geothermal well fields are often thought of as an infrastructure type, installment, like you've got electrical power lines or power grid that, because once you put it in, it's typically there for a very, very long time. You've made that investment, I mean, as far as we believe, to be a crime to just abandon it. Now you're to the point where you're replacing the unit, you're not really spending any more than you would on any other type of unit. So, geothermal is, I mean, I've heard the saying that, you know, people will say, when they put in a geothermal system and something goes wrong, they'll say, oh, that geothermal stuff doesn't work. But then if they put in a conventional system and something goes wrong, they'll say, I got a bad contract. Because they just don't believe, you know, this conventional stuff, it can't be that it was a problem with the unit or the product. So geothermal is the same way. It's been around since well before the 50s. And it's a very proven technology. It works very well. Has to be installed right. Has to be installed. I'm not saying you guys didn't do it. I'm just saying that there's been a lot of changes over the years. We know a lot more than we did a long time ago. And but a system installed correctly would be an asset to your school instead of a detriment.
So on average, how much would those replacement units run? I won't quote you.
I mean, for like an average system's around 4 tons.
Actually, it would be very good.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably looking around 12 to 15,000 per unit. But you also,
I mean, if you're loading a lot of units, if we buy one unit from the manufacturer, we're gonna get this price. If we buy several units or a lot, we're getting a much better price. And that just gets passed on.
so like you were saying, if you guys did have some sort of plan to do all of them at once, you combine savings by placing one large order instead of one small order. We get a discount rate based off each order individually. So that number would probably start moving closer to 11, 12, somewhere around there. Now, let me preface that by saying we've had several price increases in the last 4 or 5 years, and I don't see them going anywhere but up. But
That's the world.
yeah.
Another thing I'll add is, we work very closely with GES. They are a building company, and every time we put in a geothermal system, they drill the wells for us. And I called them before we came up here today after, and I spoke to him, and he said, oh yeah, we spoke to you guys before. I think his name was Kyle Flynn, was the gentleman that came up and spoke with you guys, but they do a really good job of, I mean, there's, I'll call it financing and things that they can do to help you guys. We team up with them. But there would be things that would help to reduce the bond that you would need. And I talked to them and I said, would you guys be interested in working with Ardmore on this? And he said, absolutely. He said, I think we've already talked. So I'm just putting that out there as something that.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any additional questions, Jacqueline, Lori, Jen, Kevin? Thank you guys very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So we are working on voice, like,
We've got a few right now.
Is there Scott Sanders, Alvine Engineering. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Roughly 3 years ago, we were asked to come down and initially look at the system and propose what else could be done. Are there other systems available to us that we could implement? So in that, we looked at, you could abandon the geothermal field and go to just a straight water source heat pump type system, which would involve implementing fluid coolers, which are like cooling towers outside. We'd have to put boilers in then. In the state of Oklahoma, when you have boilers, you then have to have a boiler operator on staff by law. So my understanding is that person doesn't exist right now. So, you change out the piping. You could go to steel piping. Most hydronic systems get piped up in Schedule 40 steel. Part of that reason why is because steel is a lot more durable, while HDPE is great piping, and it's used really in the natural gas industry for transporting natural gas underground. There are some, usually with plastic pipe, they have a higher coefficient of thermal expansion. So as temperature changes with the water, that pipe is going to grow and shrink over time. So we looked at, what if we could do that? We also looked at replacing the heat pumps. What if you're to go to something that's more of a residential type with a fan coil, not a furnace, but a fan coil. It's like a furnace, just doesn't have the gas heat exchanger in it. But now you're looking at probably about 50 air conditioners scattered around on the ground somewhere. And so those would all have to be located in a secure area, obviously. The other thing then too is that we could look at going to some sort of variable refrigerant flow type system. There are newer systems. They're similar to heat pump type systems, where instead of the advantage of a heat pump system is that I can have an area that needs cooling and an area that needs heating. And I can kind of, by moving the water around, get some free heating, free cooling going on. I can do the same thing with refrigerants now, using a variable refrigerant flow system. They don't quite have the life expectancy of a good system. Probably going to be about 15 years on those. The other thing with them too is you got to watch, because of what the codes, the new refrigerants, how much refrigerant you're allowed to have in the system will limit the size of the system, because you have to limit how much refrigerant is allowed to leak if a refrigeration leak was to occur. We also looked at what if, because of the piping arrangement and how the system is currently using pumps, with 2 pumps, heat pumps, what if we were to go to a primary, secondary pumping system where we have a primary pump that is circulating water, and then we have a small wet rotor circulator at the heat pump to just pump through the heat pump only. So that's possible. But one of the things that happens with that then also is that we'd have to create mechanical rooms on the first floor of the school. So we're going to lose space in order to do that, because now we got to create a pump room. We'd then be able to get the water, make up water out of the attic area, get it down into the commercial space, have it down, actually have a mechanical room, basically for your pumps. One of the things that we notice is that getting up in that attic area, basically it's a hatch that's 30 by 30, and that is the only access into that attic. And you have some rather large heat pumps up there. They're like 10 units that are not going to fit in that roof hatch.
Something has to be done.
To get that unit out, it's going to have to be cut up and taken out. How you get a new one up there, not exactly sure. Not sure you can get them like in what's called knockdown construction, to where you assemble it inside the space.
Does it require removing the roof, the sloped roof?
It very well could, at least a portion of it, to be able to get that heat pump out, because it's not going to be light either at 10 tons. I mean, that's 10 refrigeration tons, not 10 tons weight-wise. But it's going to be probably, an 800 to 1,000 pound unit. So it's going to be heavy. So there are some options there, just depending on, repair is viable. The heat pumps were manufactured, they're there right now, were manufactured in 2005. Okay. In 2010, BOMA published a preventive maintenance document that, based on research that was done, said that at that time, water source heat pumps had a life expectancy of 18 years. So when I look at when these were manufactured and what data was available then for life expectancy, you're at 21 years on a unit that had an expected life range of about 18. So newer units, manufacturing's improved. We've got, technology improves. So newer units, you can get a little bit more time out of them. You're probably going to be up in that 20 to 22 year with them. They're indoors, so that helps with being able to keep them protected from the elements. They're not susceptible to a hailstorm, high winds, or anything like that. The other thing, we probably all ran into this at some point with anything that's mechanical. I'm sorry, but OEM parts are no longer available. We will have to go and get you something that's remanufactured. And we gotta try to find something that's remanufactured and go searching for it. So a lot of these, like the control boards on the units, the compressors, you're not gonna be able to find OEM on them anymore. You'd have to go and find something that's remanufactured. So something, somebody's taking something that's into the scrapyard, is recovered, repaired, fixed, put back on the shelf. So a lot of your stuff, particularly with your water source heat pumps right now, you're going to be subject to whatever you can find that's remanufactured to repair.
James, question? Jimmy? Lori? Jacqueline? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Mr. John Wilcox, ZFI Engineering Company.
Good evening. So a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Davis contacted me with just wanting to get the existing roof evaluated to see if the flooding had caused any sort of permanent or damage structurally to the existing roof. My understanding there's approximately 15,000 gallons of water that was released on top of that existing roof. So 2 weeks ago, performed a site visit, got up in the interstitial space between the existing roof and the overbuilt metal roof, did a thorough evaluation from the soffit side of the existing steel roof framing and things of that nature. And based on observations of what we saw, there's no what I would call any sort of life safety structural issues. There's no excessive deflections or any sort of yielding or damage to the existing roof structure where this flooding occurred. In my opinion, based on those observations, long term, the roof can continue to function as it currently does and support the units that are up there and the overbuilt roof that's up there. I did observe one location, not necessarily related to the flood. It appeared to be some old damage. There was a well broken in a steel roof joist between the bottom board and the web. But that joist has even performed well, but I would certainly recommend that well gets repaired prior to putting the ceiling back in and closing up the space and making it available to students. So, any questions on my structural assessment?
So you've been here for the prior two presentations.
Sure.
Any potential problems or complications with the tonnage of doing some of the things that we're talking about doing on the present structure?
Yeah, so, the units that they're talking about replacing, I'm assuming would be very similar in weight. Assuming that's the case, there shouldn't be substantial issues with the structure. Now, if whatever system they choose kind of consolidates that and goes with larger units instead of the smaller multiple units, then Typically, the roof joist system that's there doesn't always have a lot of excess capacity, so there could be some additional strengthening. Some of that may be able to be accommodated by taking additional structural members up between the roof joists that are there and providing supplemental support. So we do that kind of retrofit, and that's done all the time. But you do have to check that and evaluate it. It's not likely to cause any sort of global structural issues, localized where that additional weight is. So we want to check that and evaluate.
So currently, with the repairs made, just the way it's done, which is safe to operate once our HVAC. Really a risk of that damage per se, creating another issue in your opinion.
Yeah, no, the structure is in good shape and should be able to perform adequately once your system's back up and running.
Questions? Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming.
So what,
More discussion?
yeah, what are we at on one repair? How much does it cost?
Well, insurance has covered pretty much everything except for $100,000 deductible. We've had about $140,000 that was gone to the water remediation, the first part, the service master. Mr. Z, I think we've spent another we haven't actually spent the money yet, but I think we're at 120 to 30, somewhere in that neighborhood with the HVAC repairs on that system.
If the board will look at the last page of the packet that I gave, the budget packet, there is a geothermal repair expense encompasses that we do. So right now, we're at $235,000 in time.
And we can cover that in budget information here in just a
Yeah,
moment.
it's in the budget information.
Any other question about the presentations, discussion?
I mean, long term, are we trying to create a grant plan for now and moving forward? Do we have quoting on what it would look like for the place of those units?
Yes, I think Mr. Foster's been working on getting some pricing.
So we'd be getting pricing on the geothermal and the other options.
Right now, looking at what it would cost to go with the gas packaging. Is that correct, Mr. Foster? But we can definitely price out both options.
And having to look at a bond either way.
Yes. If we're going to replace it.
Next item, board.
May I have a question? Just a quick question.
Sorry.
You can take questions during the meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask how long it might take, but that's it.
We can address that after the meeting, but not within the agenda. If you want to wait after the meeting,
Yeah,
we can
that's
try to
fine.
answer that. Thank you. And then you had a motion.
Yes, I'd like to put forward a motion that we adjourn, as I do not have any type of supporting documents. I have not received any information from this administration according to what I should have received within the policy.
And we recognize that point of order earlier. Budget information, Mr. Zottis. And to the point, make sure that Mr. John's point of order is reported.
Good evening. This is our financial report. You received a packet, the March 26th budget update, along with my March financial report. But in the back, in the budget update, I wanted to kind of lay it out for you. The first 3 pages is the general fund summary of changes in the budget. Pages 10 through 12 contain the general fund detail. Page 13 is the building fund summary. 14 and 15 is the building fund detail. And then page 16 is the current POs for the AHS geothermal repair that we have discussed just a few minutes ago. In general, overall the funds, I'm moving our cash that is not currently being used into secured CDs in order to earn additional interest. You'll notice in the financial report that currently we have two secured CDs, 4.5 million and 15 million. And they are currently earning an additional 0.6% over our secured sweep accounts. This will be allocated by fund when those interest pieces come mature. And I'm going to try to continue doing that to try to squeak out as much return that we can on funds that are just sitting in accounts. The general fund. Currently, total cash and CDs are 7.7 million. Our FY24 carryover, as reflected in the budget update, has improved slightly by $356,000 to a total projected carryover of 2.8 million. This improvement is due to an overall slight increase in our revenues and an overall reduction in expenses. I've made downward adjustments to our revenues, which more closely reflect the actual expected collections, like in our interest and those pieces. We have an increase in our federal funding primarily due to spring reallocations. And these adjustments to the revenue resulted in a $107,000 increase in our budget. Our expenses had small adjustments with position changes throughout the district. Our federal grant expense reduction is due to removing indirect costs that the district recovers in revenue. They were in the expense side, I pulled those out because they will generally recover as revenues. The largest increase was in our district-wide category due primarily to child nutrition adjustments and software costs. And you'll see all that in the summary report. I believe that our carryover will improve as we draw closer to the end of the year. We're currently at 10.4% of our revenues. I prefer it to be closer to 15% since more than 80% of our budget is salaries. I want to be sure that we have sufficient general funds to cover our payroll until we receive our bulk of ad valorem tax income in January. Our revenue cycle is driven primarily by the collection of ad valorem taxes. In January, we receive the bulk of those taxes, and for the remainder of the year, we operate on this, and it's supplemented with other taxes, state and federal funds, and grants and local grants. Last year, we had a carryover of 5.2 million, and at the end of December, we had a general fund balance of 1.8 million. Kind of give you an idea of how our cash flow declines until we get to January. If our carryover for FY27 is 4 million, we'll have just enough in our general fund to cover our payroll until the January collection. And for this reason, and the insulation that it provides us for economic changes, is why I prefer to have at least a 15% carryover, just to give you some background. Building fund, total cash and CDs are $3,072,575. Our FY27 carryover has been negatively impacted due to the repairs that we have seen this year. Our carryover is projected to be reduced by about $246,000. Our revenues primarily have increased by the amount of the advanced insurance payment on the high school geothermal that they gave us $150,000 in preparation to pay some of the bills that are coming in. Interest income was reduced to mirror what we are expecting in the market with reduced interest rates. This reduction was more than compensated by the red bud funds received in March. The increase in expenses is due to the unique repairs that we've seen this year, such as the gas leak at the high school over Christmas time, the water damage at the middle school, and the PAC, and now the damage caused by the geothermal leak at the high school. With the insurance deductibles having been covered with the current costs, our budget should not be harmed going forward unless something else changes. In summary, as we come to the close of the third quarter in our fiscal year, we're looking at lower than average carryovers that should improve over the next few months, hopefully. It is important to note that the COVID years are over and our funding is settling back to the pre-COVID years. We've made considerable adjustments bringing our budgets into balance without those federal funds. We are seeing the markets tightening up and costs are increasing, but we are currently in a secure position. So, any questions for me?
Any questions? Thank you very much.
I was just going to mention about the geothermal piece, but make sure you look at the back page. It has all the list of TOs and the total amounts that we currently have encumbered.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Item number 6, consent agenda. Following items which concern reports and items of routine nature normally approved at board meetings will be approved by one vote unless the board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. Do I have a motion to approve this consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve item 6.
Roll call.
Mr. Foreman,
Yes.
Mr. John,
No.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
And the item passes. Number 7. Consider and take action on the facility usage agreement with H.W. Wilson Community Center for the use of Jefferson Elementary during the community center renovation project. Is it Jemiah?
I'm sorry, it's Jemiah.
Jemiah
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Yes. You can
just
stand,
okay
you can
that I
stand if you want.
Okay, I'm Jemiah Baker now, and I'm the executive director at HFB Wilson Community Center. We have a proposal for you all. HFB, we are in the midst of a capital campaign, which means that, next year we won't be able to utilize our building because there will be no building. We will only have our lobby and our current gymnasium. The rest is gonna be demoed. And so, I'm asking that you all are at Jefferson Elementary. We talked to Ms. Brookshire. We have a really good relationship with Ardmore City Schools and the partnerships that you all, give to us, and we're very grateful for that. Our programs currently serve about 90% of Ardmore City School students. We pick up students. You all provide us with tutoring, as well as our computers in our computer lab. And for those, programs to stop is something that we don't want to happen while our building is under renovation and remodeled. And so we're asking that you all allow us to use Jefferson Elementary because our parents have said if this is something that is stopped, childcare will be an issue for them. A lot of kids are latchkey kids, getting in trouble, all those different things. And it's just a service that we provide to the community as a whole, and we just don't want to have to hinder those programs. We offer our after-school program, our before care, summer camp, of course, and we have many camps. With our usage of Jefferson Elementary, we will only be doing our after-school programs and then our camps while school is out on certain days, when we also have to pick up other students. And we just did that solely because having to do before care and all of those other programs that we normally offer, we didn't want to be a hindrance to Jefferson and already the things that they have going on. And so myself and the board, we came up with this, and I've been in talks with Mr. Z as well as Mr. Davis and some board members, and we think, with the partnership that we had, we thought that Jefferson Elementary was ideal just because it's only 6 blocks away from the community center. And so it wouldn't be a lot as far as transportation issues, as far as our students and our parents and gardening. So that's my proposal today. I hope that you guys will consider it. And if you guys have any questions for me, I'm open to answering them as well.
Questions from the board?
Jemiah, can you make sure that I get a copy of the agreement?
Yes, I will email them.
So you won't have the adult programs included, once you go to Jefferson?
Our adult programs, so we're going to utilize the churches for our senior and our adult programs because majority of those programs are during the Monday through Friday, whereas our after-school program is from 3 to 6, and then in the summer, we'll be there from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, and those programs are very important too to the community as well, but the churches have said that they're more than willing to let us use their facilities and have programs there during our building renovation.
Is this gonna make a huge financial detriment as far as the youth that do get served through these programs? Or is there a way to, if there is gonna be a detriment, to offset that?
As far as like
the transportation, like some of them are used to going to here, and then are they gonna have to go somewhere else, which may cause an inconvenience?
It's a possibility that some students may go to different camps and things like that with us, but we're trying to avoid that by having the facility of Jefferson that's only a couple blocks away. We talked to Parks and Rec as far as parking our vans, things like that. The biggest expense is going to be on HFB because of us having to utilize different areas to have programs and for us to house all of our things when we're outside of the building. But we're grateful for the city of Ardmore and the community as a whole. Our budget, is what we hope, so.
And we had had talks with them, the original proposal, the original rental fee was about $18,000, I believe, over the course of the time that HFB needed the Jefferson building. Ms. Baker came in to us, said, hey, this would really put a financial burden on us. So she came up with another proposal that was more reasonable for them, which is $6,000 for that time frame. She has my full support. I think this is something with, it's very good. It's very good for the students of Ardmore, and I believe we should support HFB in every way possible.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the facility uses for the agreement with the experience.
Is there a second? Second. Roll call?
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw? Yes. Ms. Wood? Yes.
Thank you,
Ms.
all.
Baker.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Having the board of trustees. Right on. Take action on the Mountain State student recruitment request for the Ardmore Middle School Band 6 flag strip on May 15, 2026. Jonathan Moran.
Good evening. So this is a trip we've done with the middle school for a few years. We didn't do it, I think, 4 years ago because we had an issue with behavior in the classroom for a while. We really wanted to have a substitute, and we talked about earlier in the school well, so we didn't do it that year. Basically, this is kind of a reward trip for our middle school students, which also helps with our retention. And what I've been working on for next year, I think we are retaining all but 3 students from the middle school currently, but this is basically just to reward them for representing us well, behaving well, and then they have had successful concert seasons for the past 3 years, or for 3 of the past 4 years, kind of as we were going out of COVID.
How many kids are involved?
We have 87 in middle school band, I believe.
And going on the trip?
I need that to be approved, and then I need to see how many of the parents will allow them to go.
Let's see about getting it approved. Then. Do we have a motion to approve the
I have
request?
a question. Well, what's the cost on this?
Normally we do the bulk tickets for the kids are about $36. We always do the meal deal that used to include a meal, a snack, and the souvenir cups, those unlimited drinks for the day. Six Flags doesn't offer that anymore. So normally what the kids end up paying is $60. We're gonna eat $10 of that cost just through our activity budget. So the kids will pay $50, which they have either fundraised or their parents pay. If there are students who can't pay for that normally, as long as we get a signed note or letter or email something from their parents, we kind of beat the cost. If they're in good standing with us.
Very good. Any more questions? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve item 8.
Is there a second? Roll call?
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 9, new business not done at the time the agenda was posted. Number 10, the next regular board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. Number 11, proposed executive session. Do we have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the items as listed?
I move to go.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. John?
No.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
We are in executive session. Public, all 5 board members who are present in executive session. The items discussed were the items listed. Item number 9 for executive session. No other business was discussed. No action was taken while in executive session. Number 13, consider and take action on the recommended non-certified employment for the 2025-2026 school year. Custodian, do we have a motion?
I move we accept number 13, and that's listed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Item number 14, consider and take action on the recommended non-certified support employment for the 2026-2027 school year. Project Respect West Licensed Mental Health Professional HP Administration. Do we have a motion?
I move we
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
Item number 15, consider and take action on the recommended certified employment for the 2026-2027 school year of the positions as listed. Do we have a motion?
I move that we employ Savannah Crittenden, sixth grade teacher Jefferson, Leslie Smith, Title I teacher Jefferson, Macy Featherstone, special ed teacher Lincoln, Jill Swenson, Title I teacher Lincoln, Brittany Lane, special ed teacher Will Rogers.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Foreman? Mr. John? Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
Item number 16, consider and take action on the non-certified support retirement requests as listed. Do we have a motion?
I move we accept the retirement request that's listed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Foreman? Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes.
Ms. Capshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
Item number 17, the following resignation has been received and approved by the superintendent, Amanda Lamel, custodian Jefferson. Item number 18, we are adjourned.